Mm,
Yes.
Okay, so Radha Radha everyone, we're starting Canto 1, chapter 4 and 5. That's what we are going to cover today. So let's do the invocation. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanooramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. All right.
One more thing. The slide hasn't changed. We are still on the first one.
Yeah, I know. Today, all kind of things are happening. Okay. I think this is it. Um, I can't. Yeah, I can see full screen now. Yes.
Okay. So
All
yeah.
right. Yeah. So let's do a brief recap of what happened in the last class. So in the last class, Sutta Muni was asking questions to, I mean, not Sutta Muni, Shaunaka Muni was asking questions to Sutta Muni at Naimisharanya. So he asked, what is the purpose of the Shrimad Bhagavatam? And to tell about its glory. So, in response, Utamani was saying that it actually dispels mental disturbances and it invokes and inspires devotion to Krishna. He also said that it awakens dispassion, that is vairagya and gyan knowledge, and it transforms the heart and mind of people who hears it. And then he also said that the highest duty of a person, of the entire mankind, is actually to develop devotion towards Krishna. And he said that even though right now in our experience we are everything is in duality, right? We think that we are separate, and Bhagwan is separate, but actually it is not separate. It is indivisible. We are a part of him, we exist in him, and there is no we. It is just a matter of removal of that identity, and we become one with it, one with him. So then he only functions. Then next he says that whatever spiritual practices, whatever spiritual path one follows in their life, it actually culminates in realizing Krishna. That is, realizing our own nature of who we are. And then we also learned in the third discourse about various manifestations. So we learned that the Krishna as a form, then within him is the formless Brahman, which is called as Narayana. And then from Narayana we saw that 22 avatars takes form and comes in the material world. So how we saw the progress of how it from Narayana, first Mahavishnu comes from, which is Karanodaka Sai Vishnu. From him, from his, the pores of his hands, when he breathes in and breathes out, the world manifests, and then dissolution happens, goes inside. So when he comes out, these small brahmands starts forming, and within that brahmand, the Mahavishnu has infused himself as Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu. And then from Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, from his navel, a lotus emerges, on the top of which Brahma is there. And Brahma actually manifests everything that is material in nature. And then Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu infuses his essence into each and every material manifestation. We saw that the material part is 16, divided into 16 parts, which is five senses, five karmendriya. I mean, five senses were there, and then tanmatras, five tanmatras were there, five elements were there, and then one mind. So 5 plus 5, and one mind. So 16 elements that constitute the material part. So Brahma created that. Garbhodakasai Vishnu infused his essence, and that became the Shirodakasai Vishnu, which is the Paramatma. And then the Jivatma was formed. So, we discussed everything. Now we will see the discourse 4, which is a sense of frustration overtakes Vedvyas. Okay, so let's see why Vedvyas was frustrated. So when Sutamani explained all of these, different avatars and all of that, what is the glory, and what is the purpose, purpose is God realization. So when he was explaining and when he finished explaining, now next set of questions was asked by Shaunaka Muni to Sutamani. So Sutamani, so that the continuation happens, right? So Sutamani, he actually praised him, and he said that you have a very good storytelling abilities, and we've heard that we know that you know Shrimad Bhagavatam. So can you recount to us in its originality how sage Shukhamuni told this entire Bhagavatam to Parikshit? And then now, and also, now next set of questions was he wanted to know about Vedvyas. So he said, how did Vedvyas, we know that Shukhamuni said this to King Parikshit, but we want to know how Vedvyas wrote Srimad Bhagavatam. So which yuga this happened, where was the location where he wrote this, and what was the inspiration behind it, like why, what made him write this? And then he recounted one of the information that he knew about Shukhamuni, that Shukhamuni was a self-realized person, self-realized in the sense Brahman realization. He he was one with each and everything in the entire world. So we know, right? We must see, that I keep saying that dog eater Brahmin, and the I think one more was there. So those as same, and then we also learned that clay, stone, and gold. A person actually becomes so equanimous that they see only the energy. So it's one thing that we are talking gyan, that we are supposed to see like that, and the other thing is to experientially realize it. Yeah, I am one with it. So he was someone who was one with everything. So um so now Shaunaka Muni is saying that Shukmuni was like that. He was one with everything, and he was actually entirely detached from worldly life. And to tell that, to enumerate that, he actually recounted an incident where he was saying that when Vedvya's wife was carrying Shukmuni in her tummy, he actually refused to come out for 12 years. He said that, no, I don't want to come because I know about the material world. I'm not interested. So I think I think Narada inspired him and told that it's okay, you can come out. So he decided one day that he'll come. So the moment he came out, he just left everyone. He left everyone and he started going away from everyone. So his father, who was Vedvya, started shouting back, "Son, where are you going? Come back!" But in response, actually, the trees were moving. He says that, "Which son? I am everywhere." So like that, he was responding, and he was just moving, and he was not wearing anything, and he was a young man. So he came across these ladies who were taking bath in a pond, and he just went straight, and the ladies were not doing anything actually. So the moment Vedvyas followed him, these ladies started covering themselves up. So Vedvyas became very confused, and he actually asked these ladies that, why are you guys trying to cover yourself, but like my son is completely naked, so why were you not doing that in his presence? So they said that he did not have any separation, that I am a man or you are a woman. I mean, we are women. He never felt uncomfortable. But you are still having this identity. within you. So we could clearly feel that, and that's why um we out of like it was a natural response. So then, this incident, he reminded the Sutta Muni, and he said that, how did he come, and like he was explaining to Parikshit, he was so detached, right? So how was he able to go and explain this Srimad Bhagavatam to him? And then he said, please narrate whatever we are he expressed his eagerness to hear the sacred narrative of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Actually, this also reminds me of this story I've heard earlier, and it is referred that Ved Vyasji was in the stage of being a Hans, and Shukdev ji was like Paramhans. So, and Hans can actually distinguish between things, but then chooses only good and rejects the bad. But Paramhans is like no distinction at all, and everything is divine, and so that is where
Correct.
Shukdev is. So,
Even
awesome.
you will see further in further slides, I've mentioned that he became Paramhans only after he's written Srimad Bhagavatam. So this was even before that. So this all these things will inspire him to write it. So.
Awesome.
So yeah, so this was one section where Shaunaka Muni was asking about Ved Vyas, and then next section was he was asking about Shukdev. So he said, how did Shukdev come to meet King Parikshit and recite the Bhagavad Purana? And he was saying that we have heard that Shukdev waits for only a little while at each householder's house whenever he wants something, and he explains things only very briefly. I mean, he asks things, stays there for brief time, and he goes away. So why is he doing like that? So basically, why he does this, because he doesn't want to bother people, and if somebody is interested, they will give. He knows that. So if it is meant for him to eat that day or get something that day, that will happen. So that was his belief, and that's why he was doing. So we'll learn about this as next few chapter comes. So then he was asking, tell us about King Parikshit's birth and his deeds. Why did he fast unto death by Ganga? What made him leave everything? And because you know everything, you are learned in scriptures, please let us know everything that you know. So now Sutta Muni got, these questions. So he continues what after this whole, thing about the avatars. Now he's saying, first question about Ved Vyas was which yuga, right? So which yuga? He said it happened in Dwapar Yuga, among the cycle of 4 yugas. The second question was which place, location, right? So he says that Ved Vyas was born in um, Oh, okay.
Well,
Ved Vyas was actually a partial incarnation of Sri Hari. So we know that he was 17th incarnation. We have learned it in the previous chapter. So Ved Vyas was born to Satyavati and Parashar Muni, and his birthplace was identified as a place called Kalpi, which is near modern day Yamuna Nagar, Haryana. Okay, so that's where. And one day what happened was, so he's saying what made him, what inspired him, right? That's the third question to write this Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's saying that one day after taking bath in the holy water, near the Saraswati River, currently extinct, he actually sat down and he started seeing the future. So he was just out of curiosity. He's completed his Mahabharat, so he wanted to know how is the future. So let's go for the next slide. Thank you, Sandhya. Okay, so next is, in his vision, what all did he see? So he saw that the entire humanity, you know, they were not very religious. They did not have reverence to any, you know, elderly person or gods, or they were confused in their duties. Their intellect was very weak. It was not very sharp. They had shorter lifespan, and so he decided that, this if they follow this way, which is the way of the Kali, they will be, uh, first of all, our the whole spirituality will go for a toss. They will lose their purpose. So he thought, okay, he knows that Vedic scriptures are very purifying, right? So he decided that he is going to spread it, and he is going to ensure that the spiritual aspect progresses across all classes. He's also seen that there is disparity in gender, there is disparity in caste, color, creed. So the way that he thought that he's going to solve this problem was to make sure that the spiritual wisdom is spread across. So what he did was, the Vedas were already available. So he divided these Vedas into four parts. Okay, so we know that Rig Ved, Yajurved, Samved, and Atharved. Then he divided these Itihas and Puranas as the fifth Veda, and he found disciples and trained them in these uh, 5 ways. So Romaharshana was Sutta Muni's father, right? We knew, we've learned it in the previous sessions. So he taught him Itihas and Puranas. And then he also, understanding that the intellectual capacity of people in the Kali Yuga is so limited, he actually asked them to divide the Vedas further. I think probably that is how these Upanishads came, so that people can read limited, and even I think Shraddha Traya, something like that is said, right? We have to study three things in the Kali Yuga. We have to learn one Upanishad, one Bhagavad Gita, and I think the third is the Shrimad Bhagavatam. So these three are what is needed for a person to study in Kali Yuga, for them to become spiritually informed and realized. So he's saying that so he asked his disciple to further divide these things, and then he made these teachings very simplified so that everyone can learn it. And then he knew that in Kali Yuga, people will divide, and they will say, okay, Shudras should not enter temple, they should not touch this, women should not come. So what he did was, he included these information that is present in a Vedas and compiled it into Mahabharata. Okay, 18 volumes, I think close to 1 lakh shlokas. So he did that, and he did that for to include women and Shudras, even though they are not eligible to study these scriptures at that particular time. They will be able to get benefit out of Mahabharata. So like that, he did. So next is, even though he did all of that, he felt a deep dissatisfaction inside him, and he actually wondered why. And he started thinking that, what could be the reason. So one of the reason was, he was like, okay, is it because I composed Mahabharata and I did everything about the Vedas, but I was not able to explain the virtues that connect people to Lord. That devotion aspect I have left. Is it because of that? And then he also realized that even though he had tremendous amount of knowledge and spiritual powers, he was not realized. He was not realized completely. Even though he was an avatar, he has not realized Krishna. So he had that empty feeling within him, and he was thinking, is this the reason why he's having this deep dissatisfaction, that he is not included devotion, and is it because he's not self-realized, even though he has done a lot of work? Then, while he was pondering over this and this emptiness continued within him, suddenly Narada comes. Okay, Narada is a third avatar, again from the Narayana, third avatar. So he comes, and uh, immediately Vedvyas goes near him with great respects, offers worship, and seeks answer with him. And he was warmly, like, he know that Narada will definitely have answers to his question, and his coming there and him having these questions, it cannot be by chance. So that ends this discourse. So let's go to the next chapter. So, which is the glory of singing the Lord's name. So let's see what Narada explains to um, our Vedyas. So he says, so Narada looks at him and he actually inquires that is he okay? Is he physically and mentally feeling happy? Why and he says that yes, you have done all of that. You have compiled Vedas, you've taught everybody, you have done everything, and you've also compiled the Mahabharata. But uh, despite all of these, despite achieving all of this, why are you sad? So then Vyasa actually explains ki, like he says that um because he doesn't know. That's what he says, that he admits that he's feeling no inner satisfaction despite his efforts, and he seeks the guidance. So Narada then tells, okay, I will tell you. He says that he has not focused on glorifying Lord Vishnu. So see, Vishnu means again that Brahman aspect, that Narayana aspect, that which is one. So we should not say that, we should not even think that Brahman and Bhagwan is different. It is just, one and the same. It's just one is with form, one is within him. So without form. Um, so yeah. So Narada says that he has not focused enough on glorifying Lord Vishnu, and he, through his work, actually, he has only told what is dharma, what is earth, what is calm, and what is, you know, not moksha, actually dharma, artha, and kama only. So, and his work actually lacks devotion to the Lord. So, and then he starts telling that what glorifying the Lord can do. So he's saying that anything that we do, we say now some sarvam Krishna arpanamastu, or we actually dedicate our work. So he's saying that anything that we do without taking Krishna's name, or without whoever your ishta is, without taking their name, that becomes actually meaningless, because that will only incur more karma, good or bad, whatever. And he says that he compares it them to scraps enjoyed by crows. That's how he says. And then he says that even a flawed composition, even if you write something, if you talk about something on Krishna, if you hear something about Krishna, even however flawed it is, if they glorify the Lord, the it purifies the listeners and brings liberation. So that is the power of glorifying the Lord, because you have invested that time to listen to God. So that's how it becomes an akarma. Next slide, please. Uh, okay, so thank you. All right. No, one before. Yeah. Okay. So then he says how to bring bliss and devotion into our life. Okay. So they say that, you know, if we so previously we've already mentioned, right? In every action we have to remember God. So he's saying that true bliss is achieved by withdrawing from worldly pleasures and glorifying the Lord's divine acts. So, how can we do that? We have family life and everything, right? So he's saying that by withdrawing from worldly pleasures means think God as everything. If anything, that any sound, any music, we've everything is coming from him. So we have to think that it is him only. And like that, if you're wanting to enjoy something, you think that it is his prasad. Like that, if we go, I, instead of, no, this I want to get for my own pleasure, instead of that, if we just turn it around and bring Bhagwan in the picture, then we'll actually feel the true bliss. And he's saying that partial devotion to the Lord is greater than fulfilling all worldly duties without worship. So that's another thing, that even if you don't know how to pray, just take him around you, so that way you, even if you don't know, if you bring him in the picture, that's devotion. He's not asking you, to do big rituals or anything. He understands that we don't know. And next is another thing is, the spiritual aspect is the Shiro, the Sai Vishnu within us, right? So he's only making us do everything. So whatever we are doing, it is good enough, provided we are remembering him. So next is benefits of worshipping Krishna. He's saying that no one suffers by worshipping Sri Hari. So we know that in Bhagavad Gita also, Arjuna asks actually to Krishna that what if someone was praying to you but they died and they could not realize themselves. He says that I'm going to ensure that they get a good, life, next life, good company, and I'm going to start from wherever they stopped. So if you were at 30%, you are going to start from 31. If you're at 99, you just have to work 1%. So that's how Krishna is. And he's saying that no one suffers by worshipping Sri Hari, even if the devotion is imperfect. Devotees of Krishna will be freed from, or are freed from cycle of birth and death. And even if a devotee, for whatever reason, temporarily turns away from Bhagwan, he does not exist, or he is not taking care of me, or whatever, they are drawn back by the sweetness of his presence. So that's actually, I'm a living example of that. So yeah. So next is, I think I know few of them like that. So temporary nature of worldly pleasures, sense pleasure and sorrows are temporary and arise naturally over time. So this is very like something that I was thinking about. It's which is like, we have an opinion about ourselves, our identities, what we are, and everything that, conditioning that we call, right? We know who we are, right? So we have an image of ourselves. Then something happens and somebody tells, no, you are like this. And we become angry, or we become, we react, we cry, or we try to defend ourselves. But what we have to understand is, in our life, there will not be a single moment, where that image will be maintained forever. Because as we age also, our image is changing, right? Our how we look is changing. So how can, if somebody says something, maybe it could be true, or maybe it is not. We don't have to take it personally. We just have to think that it is coming, and these are like fleeting, it comes and goes. We should not make a big thing, or because somebody said something or not. So we have to understand that sense pleasures and sorrows are temporary and arise naturally over time, and that will actually calm ourselves. We have to not give so much importance to our identities or ego. So next is the supreme goal. So he says that the supreme goal um, cannot be attained through material pursuits, or exploring the universe. Nothing. He's saying worldly or selfish actions are insufficient without dedication to Lord. Now, um, he again says that the nature of the universe, which is universe, the entire material manifestation, uh, it is actually coming from Lord's energy. So we've already seen how it comes, right? So, and he says that yet the Lord transcends it. So, but Krishna is all standing outside, and we are like a tiny spark right now. I mean, we have identified ourselves as a tiny spark, okay? And he's saying that we are separate and he is separate. He is beyond all of this. So universe is a manifestation of Lord's energy, yet he transcends it. And he's always going to be a watcher. So if you remember the picture of what a soul is, so soul is not concerned with the activities of mind, or activities of ego, or activities of whatever. It is just waiting till a point comes in our life where the ego will crave for Bhagwan. That is the only time when he will start responding to, and he will remove the problems and sorrows, and we actually become him. So next, he actually tells Ved Vyasa his purpose, and he's saying that he was born. So this is where he actually understands that how is he going to achieve the self-realization that he was looking for, or God realization. So Vyasa was born to uplift humanity and should focus on describing Lord's glory in detail. And what was the purpose of the spiritual practices? He's saying that it is to the ultimate aim of everything that we do in terms of spirituality is to glorify the virtues of Lord. Next slide. So, okay. So now, to give an example of like how glorifying the Lord helped Narada achieve his purpose, he tells about his early childhood. He says that in his previous birth, which was in another kalpa or another yuga, uh, he was the son of a maid servant. Okay, so this maid servant actually worked in a ashram, and she used to clean the place and cook, etc. And whoever came, whoever the sages, whoever came in that ashram, he was a small 5-year-old boy. He used to serve them with food or whatever, flowers or whatever small things they wanted. So, and he was not like a, ordinary child who was more interested in playing. He was actually a he avoided that actually, and he always devoted himself to serving the holy men. So he continues that once a set of sages came in the ashram during the rainy season, and he was serving them. They were singing glories, he was present. They were telling the stories, he was present. He was always present around him, and he was listening to them. He was giving them food. So once what happened was he found some leftover food. So he asked them if he can have it, and they said yes. So he had it, and to his surprise, he saw that once he had the leftover food of these great devotees, his heart became more purified, and his devotion actually deepened. He found great joy in hearing praises of Sri Krishna, and he became more and more attracted to Krishna each day. And they were anyways telling him various things. So soon he realized the illusion of Maya, and um, he understood that this world is actually a illusion. It is covering. It is actually, if you we when we look around, we don't see energies, right? We see things, we see people, but he's saying that that itself is what Maya is. We are not able to see the real picture, that they are all Krishna only, him only. So then, when it was time for them to leave, actually Narada cries. He becomes very sad. He doesn't know that when such an another opportunity of this kind will come, where he will be able to serve them. He will be able to chant the names and listen to the glories of Krishna. So um, as he was listening to them, his ignorance got destroyed. His worldly attachments became very less. And when they left, before leaving, they blessed him. They actually gave him a mantra also. I didn't get the time to actually look at it. I think it was Om Namo Narayanaya or Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya, something like that. I will share it later next class probably. Um, but they told him to chant that. And Narada like that, and this much only he said. So the continuation will come in the next class. So Narada explained that understanding Lord's Maya helps one. So this is the last 2 points are for Ved Vyas. So he's saying that when you say, when you write this glory about Krishna, then people will understand Lord's Maya, and whoever understands this Maya aspect will actually learn to look at everything as God, and that person will attain his supreme abode. He says that actions dedicated to Lord brings liberation, just as medicine cures diseases. So the action can be hearing also, listening, reading, anything. So then he says, Narada then further urges Vedvyas to narrate Lord's glories, explaining that hearing his divine stories brings peace and removes all afflictions. So I think that's the end of the fifth um, discourse. So that's what I have for you. If you have any questions.
I think I got reminded of this, like you were saying now, which mantra. So I have seen like Vishnu Puran, and in that Narad ji gave mantra or chanting Nam Jap kind of thing to both Dhruv and Prahlad, and it was the same thing. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I think
Mm,
that might be the same that he would have given to Vedvyas ji as well.
okay. All right. Okay. So I have I have some slides that I've prepared. If you want to, share that first slide. I mean, if nobody has questions, and then I can probably discuss that. We have 15 minutes.
Let me just download the other one. That's the Canto 1 discourse, right?
Yes. It has a section. If you scroll down now, where let's introspect or something. So after that.
Okay, let me see. But it's like Naraji is always a rescuer, no? For anyone, he's the one who actually starts the process of describing the glories and getting people on board for devotional path.
Yeah, and it also shows that he knows, right, when he needs, and when he is in
Yeah.
doubt, Sanakadi brothers comes.
Yeah. Falguni ji has raised hand. Radhe Radhe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Radhe Radhe. I think, just I think the mantra which the monks gave Naradji when they departed after the Chaturmas was over was Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yeah,
Okay.
that is, I mean, that's the mantra which was given to.
Right,
Yeah,
right. That's what.
Thank
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So is this
Yeah.
like?
So let's the next slide.
Yeah.
Okay, so whoever was not present in the previous class, they will have like help with this. Basically, I was trying to explain what are these different we were going inward, right? The first was the outermost proportion, which was Krishna. So I was saying that Krishna was Swayam Bhagwan. He was original supreme personality of Godhead, and he when he manifest in a world called Golok Vrindavan, which is also within him. Okay, so he's going and he is manifesting himself there, and he engages in intimate loving relationship, and then he embodies ultimate balance. He has two aspects to him, which is Aishwarya and Madhurya. So Madhurya Bhav is what he manifests in the Golok Vrindavan. And then in the Vaikunt, he manifests everything Aishwarya. So all these 22 avatars, everything comes from there. And in the how you have to imagine you have to imagine a form, and that form is Krishna, and within him, like we have blood vessels and things like that. So it doesn't have a particular shape or anything, right? So like that is the formless Brahman, which is the Narayana aspect. So this Narayana aspect has a world, which what are that world is, that is known as Vaikunt. So in the Vaikunt, there is pure energy forms also, and there are forms which is these lokas and these avatars. Okay. um the entire thing is all about that only. So he says that as the his ultimate refuge, he liberates souls by reawakening their internal eternal connection to him through bhakti. So can we go to the next slide? Okay, so here about Narayana. So Narayana is the supreme lord of Vaikuntha. So embodying transcendental opulence, Aishwarya. So as and when whatever, like Narasimha Avatar, he just manifested, right? Out of this pure formless into a form. So that's how. So Narayana is the supreme, it's a formless aspect, is the supreme lord of Vaikuntha, embodying transcendental opulence, Aishwarya. He is served eternally by liberated souls. So those people, just like what how we saw Vedvyas, Vedvyas was not, he came from here, right? But he has not realized Krishna. So that God realization has not happened, but the ultimate realization has happened. So which is not ultimate, which is the Brahman realization, you can say. Um, so he's served eternally by liberated souls, worshipping him with awe and reverence. So Narayana resides over the infinite spiritual planets. He's spread across everywhere, okay? And each radiating divine bliss and knowledge. He's the source of all Vishnu expansions. We know that, right? Mahavishnu also comes from him. Garbhodakasai Vishnu, Shirodakasai Vishnu, and all the 22. And not only that, everything else also. So he's a source of all the Vishnu expansions. Narayana form embodies knowledge, power, beauty, wealth, fame, renunciation, everything. He also has everything. He's not different from Krishna. Just the Aishwarya aspect is what he actually that's why we don't say, okay, he's my friend. He will mostly say that we'll revere him. Yes, Falguni ji. You have to unmute yourself.
Radhe Radhe Falguni ji, please unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Ye-
yes.
Yeah, I just little, I have a little doubt in my mind. This ultimate realization and Brahman realization um, is not very clear to me.
Okay, so how I understand is what I can tell. So Brahman realization is basically, if right now you are Falguni ji, right? So when you know that Pratyusha is also you, Sandhya is also you, and not only these human beings, every creature, every plant, everything, experientially you know, and you are one with everything, that is Brahman realization. Okay. And then knowing that there is another power above you to whom you serve, that is Krishna. And realizing him and realizing that you're connected to him and he only is working and you are his power, that is God realization. That's how I understand. So if you have anyone else knows it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so we have also, I think just I could give those examples that Nitin ji has given us again and again, which are like becoming a rasgulla and eating a rasgulla, like, so he says that, um, so if we become a rasgulla, then we cannot really get that sweetness because we have just become a part of this entire thing, right? But eating a rasgulla is like you are tasting the sweetness. So Brahman realization is kind of merging. And then you're
Okay.
not, so you have basically realized God, but it's like no feelings. I mean, I don't know. I can't explain it because I haven't experienced it,
Okay, okay,
but
okay.
but the sweeter way of realizing God is the other aspect that we are talking about, like where you understand that we are a part of God and our constitutional position is to serve Him with
So
all.
I'll give you one more thing that I just recalled was when you have God realization through devotion, you get a divine body. So you exist independently and you serve Bhagwan in the loving way, in the Madhurya Bhav. Whereas in the Brahman realization, um, I don't think you are going to get a divine body. I mean, it's just a thought. I don't know.
Yeah, so it actually also it relates with this
Okay, okay.
Dvait and Advait, right? So I think in Brahman
Yeah,
realization,
okay.
it's more like Advait. There are no two entities; it's just one. And in
Yeah.
this way of sweeter way of God realization. It's Dvait, like you are a part
Okay.
of God,
Okay.
but distinct from God, kind of a thing, a servant.
Okay. So there are two different things. There are two different
Two
things.
different
Okay.
ways of
Got it.
realizing God,
Yeah,
and
Two
if you
different
see
ways of
this image,
realization. Yeah, they are not. It is not sequential. It is. They are two different ways. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
independent.
it
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
same thing, but it is getting represented as two different things. Like if you see this image, Krishna is there, and this entire universe is coming inside, is present inside him. So in the Brahman realization, when we die, we just merge and we become him. So there is no separate person standing. And so if any number of manifestation can come out of him and go inside him
And
and
also,
will never come back again.
he's also said this,
Okay.
right? Brahmanand and Premanand. So it's the same, it's a bliss, ultimate bliss, but it can also be of different flavors. So Brahmanand
Okay.
and Premanand are the ones that we are referring to. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. All right. So we'll continue that. Yeah. So devotees of Narayana attains Vaikunt. So there also is a divine body, and they are saying that we are attaining Vaikunt by serving him with pure devotion and reverence. And scriptures describe him as embodiment of Sattva Gun, the purest aspect of existence. And he ultimately expands from Sri Krishna, which is Narayana is coming from Sri Krishna, who includes both Madhurya and Aishwarya. Next slide, Sandhya. All right, so Mahavishnu, I think we know that it is coming from Narayana, and uh, actually, he manifests different worlds, and we've discussed that. So this is the Karanodakasai Vishnu portion. Uh, Next slide, please. So I'm just briefly saying, so Garbhodakasai Vishnu is already, he's from his navel. This is Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is actually watching. He's infused his essence into the Brahmand, and then Brahma is creating the entire material world, and he's infuses as Shirodakasai Vishnu. So that, and next slide.
Kshirodakshai.
Shirodak Sai Vishnu is the Paramatma. He's watching the ego actually, basically. So he's going to see and he's going to record. As long as you're saying that I'm the doer, okay, so he's like, okay, you are the doer. So then you have to reap the consequence or benefits of whatever you did. So here is an interesting thing called Jiva, which is us. So Jiva is the eternal fragment of Krishna belonging to his marginal energy. Why marginal? Because we also have the material aspect also. And our true nature is actually Sachidanand. We are like him only, though covered with material illusion, which is Maya. So Jiva's eternal purpose is to serve Krishna in loving devotion. So if we are able to do that, if we want to serve him, we do bhakti, his bhakti, and if we want to merge, we do Narayana, or we can go whichever bhav actually, basically. Then Paramatma, that is Shirodaka Sai Vishnu, actually guides us within our heart, and for liberation. So whatever actions we are doing, actually he is only guiding us, because he is only the Atma within us. And yeah, so I was just seeing the pervasiveness of each aspect, so where all each aspect goes. So the jiva is actually, it's a very tiny thing. Its consciousness is actually limited to the body, maybe a little bit more, but that's it. That is how much a jiva can, a jiva cannot understand what is going on in other person's mind or body or anything. Its consciousness is only limited to itself. And Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu pervades the entire material thing that we saw. Whatever Brahma made, he's expanding himself to everything. So if we understand that we are the Paramatma only, that is, we have gone out of our body, we have expanded our consciousness, We have understood that we are not this limited identity that we understand or people call us. Somehow or something or the other happened, and we have understood that we are only the Paramatma. Then we will know everything that the other person is feeling and knowing. Then comes the extent of Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, which is localized to each universe. Mahavishnu pervades the causal realm, which is causal realm means where there is a ocean called a causal ocean, which is within the Narayana. Okay, so whatever actually actions we are performing, or whatever chitta vrittis we call it, that is ingrained how do you call the tendencies. So there is a ocean of these tendencies, so he actually manifests all of them out
So
so
the
that
stars that we refer to,
what I
sanskar.
Sanskar, yeah. So these sanskars, it's an ocean of sanskar. So he brings all of this out for the jiva to experience it and understand that, okay, I've been here, suffered enough, or did the same thing again and again. I'm now bored. So now I want to go and go behind the real thing, like that. So then infinite, his pervasiveness across everything from top to bottom. So that is how within Krishna is the expanse of Narayana. And even Narayana is included inside the Krishna. So that is how pervasive the
So,
Krishna is.
for the Shirodakshai Vishnu, he's pervading every atom and heart of a given universe.
Uh, yes, you can say material world. Yes.
Right.
Only material world, which is the from the
Brahmand, basically, of a given Brahmand, I think if it's
not Brahman means Garbhodaka Sai
universe.
Vishnu.
Okay.
And from the navel, which is the 14 lokas, and each lokas will have different manifestations, right?
Planet.
Patalatala, Sutala, Matalatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, all of that, and then Bhulok and Swarglok and Bhuvarlok, Taparlok, Satyalok. So all of that will be pervaded by Shirodaksai Vishnu. All right, so next, last slide, I think. Okay, so what kind of realization is achieved through each? So Jiva, I am the soul, I'm the individual soul, which it can be experiential and theoretically also. If it is an experiential thing, we call it as Vigyan. If it is an theoretical, means we call it as Gyan. Then Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu, which is I am only the Paramatma, is actually an experiential realization. Then Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu and Mahavishnu is a theoretical realization because there is only one. Okay. So we will not, it's a theoretical because they are there. There is a Karan ocean and all of that. And if you want the reference for these, I can get it next time. It is based on Shastras only. So next is Narayana. Narayana realization is actually experiential, which is Brahman realization, that I am all pervading. We will know, which is experiential. And theoretically, okay, we can say that, yeah, Bhagwan is present in everyone, like that. And Krishna, realizing Krishna as son, brother, friend, husband, lover, which is it's an experiential realization. So this is what I've compiled. So yeah.
Great. Little new to me, and I think I'll take a little while to understand it properly. But that's a great compilation. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And it is already 10:02. So time for us to also take a leave. But it was great. Today we learned a lot. Also, I think there were a few stories that I had heard of. They got more light today. So great session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for attending, and thank you for giving me an opportunity. I'm also learning with every one of you. Like, same.
Yeah, opportunity for all of us to be learning Shrimad Bhagavatam, a very rare opportunity. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all. See you all tomorrow for the Bhagavad Gita discussion. We move to verse 6.10. And I think we are going to cover a number of verses tomorrow. So look forward to seeing everyone. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.